Hey guys, Sean here. I'm now doing my part 3 to my X-Men series reviews, and I will be tackling the 2011 and 2014 films, X-Men First Class and X-Men Days of Future Past. But I'm going to start with First Class. Okay, so this movie is the 5th installment in the franchise, released back in 2011 under the direction of Matthew Vaughn and produced by Bryan Singer. This movie serves as a prequel and a reboot to the series. I will get into that later. The story is set primarily in 1962 during the Cuban Missile Crisis and focused on the relationship between Charles Xavier and Erik Lehnsherr and the origin of their groups, the X-Men and Brotherhood, respectively, as they deal with the Hellfire Club led by Sebastian Shaw, who is bent on world domination. The film stars James McAvoy and Michael Fassbender, replacing Patrick Stewart and Ian McKellen, respectively. And the film also stars Rose Byrne, Jennifer Lawrence, January Jones, Nicholas Hoult, Oliver Platt, Jason Fleming, Lucas Till, Eddie Gathegi, and Kevin Bacon. God dang, with a big cast. So the movie was directed by Matthew Vaughn and produced by Lawrence Shuler Donner, who produced all the X-Men movies. Bryan Singer, who directed the first 2 movies and would go on to direct this movie. And then you have Simon Kinberg, one of the co-writers of X-Men: The Last Stand, and apparently the sole writer of this, which I'm calling bullshit on. And then you have Gregory Goodman as the other producer. This movie was written by Ashley Edward Miller. Weird having a guy with a girl's name. It's weird. But anyway, Zach Stentz. I'm sorry if I butchered that name. Jane Goldman and Matthew Vaughn contributed to the script. The story was written by Sheldon Turner and Bryan Singer. Score was done by Henry Jackman. Whenever he's in relation to Hugh Jackman. The movie has a runtime of 132 minutes, which translates into 2 hours and 12 minutes. The budget for the film was roughly $150 million, and the box office was $353.6 million. That's good money. So basically, as I said, the plot of this movie is it's set in 1962, around the Cuban Missile Crisis, and basically the Hellfire Club is trying to coast America and Russia into World War III. And basically shows also the origin of of Xavier and Magneto, how they became friends, and then their eventual separation. Okay. No, that's not it. That's not it. Dang it. Hang on, folks. Okay. So there are some good things about this movie. One of the good things, in my opinion, is the opening scene to this movie is a near shot-for-shot recreation of the opening scene from the first movie. And I thought that was a well-done scene, because it is almost a note-for-note recreation. That was awesome. McAvoy and Fassbender make great replacements for Stewart and McKellen, although those 2 actors will never be topped. I'm sorry, but McAvoy and Fassbender make good replacements. This has a great cast. The movie's miles better than The Last Stand and Origins, even though I do like those movies. They're more guilty pleasures, I guess you could say, in my opinion. This has a great score by, like I said, Henry Jackman. I wonder if he's related to Hugh Jackman, like I said before. It'd be funny if he was. Don't know. The replacement actors try not to mimic the original actor's performance. So, like James McAvoy, Michael Fassbender, Jennifer Lawrence, Nicholas Hoult, they don't try to mimic the original actors, which I thought was awesome. Although I have read that Nicholas Hoult actually watched some old Frasier episodes, which starred Kelsey Grammer, who played Beast in Last Stand. So I guess, I don't know why, but he watched it to kind of I guess, get a feeling for how Kelsey Grammer acted. As cool as it was, but apparently it wasn't needed because Matthew Vaughn didn't want the cast to have to conform to the original actors' performances. Anyway, another good. I'm gonna get the other. All right, had some good action scenes. There were a couple of bald jokes which I thought were kind of funny. Wolverine has an awesome cameo in this movie, and the line he says actually was not in the script, and the reactions that Fassbender and McAvoy have, which are McAvoy and Fassbender, those reactions were actually genuine. Those were not in the script because that was kind of funny. And then another positive I have, which is going to lead into my negatives. This movie succeeds as a series reboot. That's the positive. The negatives now start, but it fails as a series prequel due to the continuity problems. And this movie has massive continuity errors. This film also has an identity crisis because it doesn't know whether it wants to be a prequel or a reboot. And that's a problem because this movie was originally intended to be a reboot, but made into a prequel at the very last minute. In the trailer, you have some of the archive footage from the last few movies, such as the part where it says before he was Professor X. It shows the scene from Last Stand where it shows Charles' chair in the office, and then it goes to he was Charles, and then where it shows before he was Magneto, it shows footage. I'm assuming X2 where it shows Magneto's helmet, to where it says he was Eric. And then you have the couple cameos, and then you have the shot-for-shot opening from the first movie, which I thought, again, was well done. But then you have the two cameos from Hugh Jackman and Rebecca Romijn, which, if you take those four elements, the archive footage in the trailer archive footage, the shot-for-shot opening, recreated opening, and the two cameos, those are pretty much your prequel bits. Everything else is pretty much a reboot. So that's like I said. This movie was made into a prequel at the very last minute. But that's not really a negative for me. It's just confusing whether it's supposed to be a prequel or a reboot. So I kind of see this as a reboot more than a prequel. But that's fine. That's fine if you guys see this more as a prequel. That's fine. But yeah, other than those little minor negatives, this movie's a great film. It's one of the best in the series, I think. It's an awesome movie. I like how they went for a more period look. Well, not really a period look, but a period setting, I guess you say. Being this is set in 1962 around the Cuban Missile Crisis. Thought that was awesome. So yeah, I will now do my review. I'm now going to watch this film. So look forward to my review in a bit. So now it's time for my review of X-Men Days of Future Past. Now, if you're going to ask which version did I watch for this video, I think the case can pretty much tell you. Yeah, I watched the Road Cut. Why? Because I think it's a much better version in my opinion. So, anyway, X-Men Days of Future Past is a 2014 superhero movie based on the characters that appear in Marvel Comics. It was directed by Bryan Singer. It is the 7th installment of the series and acts as a dual sequel to both 2006's X-Men The Last Stand and 2011's X-Men First Class. Although, to be fair, it in my opinion, is more of a sequel to First Class. But just me. The story is inspired by the 1981 Uncanny X-Men storyline, Days of Future Past by Chris Claremont and John Byrne. Focuses on two time periods, with Wolverine traveling back in time to 1973 to save mankind. Film features an ensemble cast including Hugh Jackman, James McAvoy, Fassbender, Jennifer Lawrence, Nicholas Hoult, Halle Berry, Anna Paquin, Ellen Page, Peter Dinklage, Ian McKellen, and Patrick Stewart. Sam McGivern wrote the script from a screenplay from a story conceived by himself, Matthew Vaughn, and Jane Goldman. The movie has a runtime of, well, as far as the road cut, 2 hours and 28 minutes. As far as the theatrical cut is 2 hours and 11 minutes. The road cut adds 17 minutes of extra footage, which I'll get into. The budget was $200 million, and it made back, $747.9 million. Ooh, that's a lot of money. So yeah. So basically, the plot in a nutshell is basically, after the events of Last Stand, because this is technically a sequel to Last Stand, but like I said, I consider it mostly a sequel to First Class. But anyway, in the future, set in the year 2029, basically, let's go back up in the story. Basically, what happens is the difference between this and the comic book story is that in the comics, the quote-unquote target was Senator Kelly. But being she was already a character in the first movie, they decided to switch out the target and make him Bolivar Trask, who is the Sentinel creator. So basically what it was that Mystique kills Trask in 1973, and that sends the public into panic, basically initiating the Sentinel program, which apparently is created from her DNA. How, I don't know, but okay. And then eventually the world becomes a post-apocalyptic dystopian future where the Sentinels are hunting down and killing mutants. And so Professor X and Magneto, and for the sake of this review, I'm going to refer to the past characters by their civilian names and the future characters by their mutant names, I guess you say. Just, Anyway, Professor X and Magneto send Logan back in time about 50 years to prevent this from happening. And I know a lot of people are going to say, why did Logan go back? I know everyone's going to think it's, because he's most marketable. No, actually, they do give a story reason. It's because the further back in time you go, the more strain it puts on your brain, and to the point where your brain goes like that. So the reason why they send Logan is because he has a healing factor, which, as he says, his brain can heal as fast as it's being ripped apart. So it allows him to survive the process. So yeah, Logan is sent back in time and has to get Magneto, or get Charles, the young Charles. Like I said, I was going to refer to the older cast, the original cast, by their mutant names, and the younger cast from First Class by their regular names. So basically, Logan has to get Charles and Hank, along with Magneto, to basically stop the Sentinel program from existing. I know there's a long sum up there, but I'm sorry, this plot is, you know what I mean? So anyway, what do I think of the movie? My God, this is an awesome movie. It's probably in my opinion, this is the best in the X-Men series. Let's see. I took some notes. Okay, there's all my reviews. Okay. Like before, we got my positives first. Bringing Bryan Singer back was a big plus. Okay? Because he knows what he's doing with these movies. First two, I thought were great movies. I had a lot of fun with them, and Bryan Singer knocked it out of the park again. Sadly, Superman was not good. Neither was Jack the Giant Slayer, or Killer, whatever. But that's a different subject for another time. Bringing the original trilogy cast back, I thought was awesome. The X2 theme, brilliantly brought back by John Ottman, the composer, in case I didn't say it before. They do mix the original cast and the First Class cast very well, and also them blending the future and past, like the transitions and the blending and everything. I thought that worked out very well with you know what I mean. Having Logan be young Xavier's mentor, it kind of brings the relationship between Logan and Xavier in general full circle, because in the first movie, Xavier had to guide Wolverine. So now in this movie, it's basically the reversal. Logan is basically having to guide Xavier, which I thought was really cool. This movie has some great action scenes, probably the best in the entire series. Great score by John Ottman, who did, I think, the second movie, and Superman Returns. I thought he was cool. In my opinion, by far the best scene in this movie is the two is the scene where the two Xaviers are talking with each other. That I thought was a brilliant scene. Very well done. And then I also liked that they brought back the Cerebro opening. Whereas in the first three movies, when the credits end, when the opening title ends or whatever, they basically end the credits with the Cerebro door kind of closing and then it opens up again and goes into the main part of the movie. That I thought was really cool. Now some to my negatives. This movie erases every film in the franchise apart from this one. Which is, I mean, I don't know, I wouldn't necessarily say it's a bad thing, it's just, why would you do that? I mean, I understand them trying to erase Last Stand and Origins, not because a lot of people didn't like those, but I hate to say it, you kind of erased every other movie too. So I guess the Transformers phrase, no sacrifice, no victory, makes sense here. Huh. Interesting. Anyway, certain things are kind of left unexplained, like how does Kitty Pryde have the ability to send people back in time? How is Xavier still alive after being killed in The Last Stand? You know, stuff like that is left unexplained. And then some stuff in the 70s original timeline doesn't really make a lot of sense with the original movies. Like, if Xavier is this walking, drunken drug addict, how is he the bald, brilliant professor in the future? If Magneto is in prison in the 70s, how is he walking around in the 80s when they go to recruit Jean in Last Stand? Just stuff like that I thought was kind of weird. The future epilogue at the end of the movie, it kind of ruins any tension that they were trying to set up with Apocalypse, the next movie, because we pretty much know who's going to live already. Having Logan be a little rocky when he sees the young Stryker, I thought was kind of felt out of place, because it was just like they didn't want Logan in that action scene right there where Mystique jumps out of the window and Eric throws the bullet at her. But it didn't do anything horrible. It just felt out of place. One thing I don't understand is how Professor X, future Xavier, is not able to penetrate Cerebro. It's something I never understood when watching this movie. And I'm sorry, but Trask is a terrible villain. I'm sorry. And I don't blame Peter Dinklage for it, but the way the character is written is terrible. Because he says he admires mutants, yet he's killing them. I don't think you'd kill something you would admire. And that's just something I never understood. But that's just me. But all in all, I found this to be a very fun movie. A great X-Men film. Best in the series to this date. I can only hope Apocalypse is better, or if not better, then just as good as this. It's a great movie. Hope you guys enjoy it. So that concludes my X-Men videos. I might do a video based around some of the continuity problems that I had with this movie, and then maybe do a video about the differences in the cuts of this movie. But I don't know yet, so as for right now, consider this the end of the series. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and I will catch you next time with the next video.